Hello, hello. My name is Vic Shivdasani, and I'm an intuitive, and this is the energy forecast for October 9th to October 15th. As I said last week, the energies are much lighter this month. You'll find yourself having leverage over your programs more so than you had before. When I say your programs, I'm talking about like your addictions, your what you go to when you have resistance, those familiar patterns. It could be phone scrolling, it could be substances, it could be anything that you engage in to avoid, basically. And so when we are realizing that, we're able to step forward into literally a new paradigm. The more and more we make the choices that are more forward looking rather than based in our past. So if you're noticing that those programs are coming up and coming up in a really big way that's affecting you, stronger than normal, know that that moment is really those programs' last efforts to exist, and they're fighting for their life. And so you still have that leverage to not fall into it, though you may be in a little bit of a fight for a day or two, before it completely really dissolves and you have a foot on it. However, something to really realize here is that if we are having addictive programs coming up, more likely than not, there is an action step. There is a step that you are being called to move forward in. And the more you resist that action step, that forward momentum, the more you resist doing that next thing, those programs are going to be there. And so it's important to identify that when you are in a story looking for instant gratification in something, know that that is a trap and that is really just coming up because you haven't taken that next action step. Now, I get it. These intuitive steps that I'm talking about are always leading us to uncomfortable situations, and they're uncomfortable because they're unknown. And so we can't really see the whole picture. We don't understand where it's fully leading us to, and the past we can predict, the past we understand. So they're familiar. It's easier to go to past programs. But they're not cutting it anymore. What once was beneficial, what once did have a purpose, really is just a crutch at this moment. And so really, really important to understand there that you're stepping into a whole new version of you. And these outdated beliefs, fears, stories, actions don't have a place anymore in your future. All right. And so that really brings me to the next point here is that it's very, very important right now to be cultivating your own light. It's very, very important right now to be doing your inner work practices, to be consistent with your morning routines, having that connection so that you're able to tap into that frequency of source, of the universe, of just your higher self, really building that connection and maintaining and being consistent with that connection is so important during this time. We may feel like we don't have enough time in certain days or choose to do it the next day. But it's really important to understand here that your inner work, morning routine, or meditation practice is super important to cultivate the right frequency for you to be in to keep moving forward. There's so much happening on the planet. There's all sorts of transformation going on, and it's tumultuous times. So more and more we are being called to really cultivate the energy, the frequency within us and bring it onto this world. And so as you continue to step in, you're going to realize when you act on those intuitive steps, you're going to feel some level of relief. You're going to feel some level of acknowledgement that 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 you finished the task. And then there's going to be another one. And then there's going to be another one. And that's really just how you play the spiritual life game right now. It's really clearing the noise, doing the work, being sovereign in your energy, being steadfast in what you are inputting into your brain, the things you watch, the things you listen to, all of that is super important. And then from that place, really being able to hold on to the frequency to hear the next step, because intuition is not always clear, right? And so if we're not really cultivating that clarity and we're falling into old programs or being enamored by them in some way, you're kind of limiting yourself for your potential. This is a time where we can all rise and experience the highest perspectives, the soul land magic, the fulfillment on all aspects of your life. But it's important that you're following each step. And if you are falling in to an old paradigm, an old story, just know that it's working itself out. And you're gonna notice too, just consciously, that these past programs, and it's just the way we're built, they happen automatically. And when we can really realize, and I know it's convincing, and I know sometimes it's intense and that the stories are real and all of those things, but what we got to understand is that those programs, those thoughts are happening automatically. And when we're conscious, right, when you're really in your consciousness and you're able to see those subconscious thoughts playing out from like a higher perspective, that's when we really have control here. And the more you embody yourself with that higher perspective, the more magic you're going to experience in your life. And so just a personal story share for you here. Um, Everything I say is also related to what I'm understanding in my own life. And so as I'm saying, stepping into a new paradigm. I've been doing that myself. And a couple weeks ago, I started a group program, a group manifestation program called Alakazam. Your wish is your command. And we're just in the second week, and we already have a few manifestations coming in. A lady who was dating some guy, she wasn't really feeling the relationship much, and she was feeling like it was time to end things. And so she was getting ready to do that, and then she got the text message from him that he was ending things with her, which really relieved her because she didn't have to have that conversation. So that was a nice little manifestation. I also had another manifestation of one of the people in the group program, this other lady who has started a new business and is building her clientele. And last night she was going through a lot of emotions and nervousness and fear around her business. And we did a lot of work and meditation in our session yesterday, and literally today she got the call that she picked up a new client. So some nice little wins there. But for me, after the call, something really profound happened. And so as I've been following my intuitive steps and creating this group program and following through, as well as I host sacred medicine ceremonies. And in the last ceremony about 6 weeks ago, I had someone have a really powerful experience where she connected with her boyfriend's brother who passed away some years ago from being murdered. And so he showed up in her ceremony, but she didn't really know why. And she felt kind of like a neutral energy from him. And lo and behold, 6 weeks later, she just hit me up yesterday, and I spoke to her after my group program. And she was just telling me that she was having a lot of mystical experiences, that the ceremony really opened up her energy, and she's really been able to meditate very deeply, connect to higher realms. And she literally, in a meditation, had the Kundalini awakening come up through her entire body from her feet all the way up to her head. And when she got to her crown, she She experienced the cosmos. She said I was the Milky Way, and it was so vast and beautiful and amazing. And she was saying all this stuff. And then she was also telling me that that her boyfriend's brother was also coming up um, throughout the last 6 weeks. And again, like in this neutral energy, she saw a shadow, but she was getting a sense that he's a lost soul. So I've had a couple of instances of experience with this where I was working with someone and someone that is in their lineage or connected to them that has passed on has been showing up. And usually what happens in those situations is they're stuck on some level or some of their energy is stuck here and it needs to be free. So I asked her if she could tune into him in that moment while we were talking. And as that happened, this energy took over her and she was crying and it was painful and it was intense. And it was his pain. It was what he suffered. And then she could see him. And again, she said he had a neutral energy to him and neutral look. And so I was tuning in with her and then I could feel the energy. I'm definitely a feeler in these things. I'm less visual and I feel and decode a lot more with my spiritual gifts. So I was able to feel into it and was trying to get some information as I was asking her to ask him, what does he want us to know? What message does he have? And we weren't getting anything. And so I really had to be still in this moment to really listen to what the guidance was saying in that moment. And what they wanted me to do was they wanted me to tell her to connect to that feeling of the cosmos and the Milky Way and the vastness and the beauty and all of that, all of that frequency and connect to that and send it to him. And so that's what we did. And as we did that, the energy got lighter and things got a little bit better, but he was still there. And then it came to me to tell her to tell him that I release you now. I free you. You're free. You're free to go. Go into the cosmos. And like that, he was gone. At the end, she still had some energy stuck in her, and we had to command that energy to whatever energy was not hers to leave now, to be gone, and it dissipated. And she was weak after that. She was a bit depleted because when you're not used to those kind of experiences, it's super powerful. But she, from the ceremony that we did, obviously opened up some spiritual gifts that she's experiencing, and was also with the help of my guidance, or really the guidance that was coming through me, was able to free her boyfriend's brother's soul. So all of that to say, like, this is mind blowing to me. This is crazy. Like, I did not decide to do this. I don't even do sessions for things like this. Like, it's really only the second or third time something like this has happened. But it was just a really powerful reminder of why I do what I do, and that the more and more I step into my purpose, that I'm going to be able to help more people and fulfill the mission of my soul here to heal others and to step into this new earth, this new paradigm of living from your soul, from your higher self, rather than our conditioning ego programs. So, hope you like that. If you resonated with this message, please like, subscribe so you get the notification for the next video. We're going to be here every week with new updates and new forecasts, and see you soon, y'all.